All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Lions Avenue. As usual, it's myself, Walt Stringer, joined by Ashanti Beasley. We are Lions Avenue, and we are here to take on all of your concerns, all of your anger, because I know there's a lot of anger out there, all of your fears, all of your skepticism, because this is now an 8-3 football team that has the feel of maybe a 9-win team, 10-win team. I think they're going to ultimately eclipse those numbers overall at the end of the day. But this is a team that has come out of the bye. They were explosive offensively against the Chargers initially. Defense still wasn't good at all. You and I both, Ashanti, chalked that up to them playing a lethal, elite quarterback in Justin Herbert and a top tier quarterback, wide receiver in Keenan Allen, and just being able to put up points was something that it was an attribute with the Chargers you had to respect. So we kind of was happy with the last second win. Everybody here in town brushed that off. Decided to go into the Charger game and for whatever reason lay a complete egg. I don't understand where that dud came from. Um, the fact that the Chicago Bears were able to run that high school offense for 3.5 quarters and defensively we weren't able to stop anything. There was nothing really special Justin Herbert did in that game. Justin Herbert just executed the game plan to the best of his ability. He was efficient passing the ball, nothing special downfield, except for that one big play to DJ Moore. The running game was what it was. They slowed the game down. They kind of dragged it out. Weren't able to ultimately score enough touchdowns. They had the one touchdown. I believe they kicked, what, 4 field goals, 5 field goals, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, the Bear game was what it was. They gave it away because ultimately they just could not get the ball in the end zone. You go to the Green Bay game, Green Bay was able to get the ball in the end zone. That was different.
Mm-hmm.
You and I discussed it after the Chicago game. We said that against even a slightly better opponent, which Green Bay ain't too much better than Chicago, but they are better. And you and I both said after the Chicago game that you can't play that game with teams that can actually score some points. You can't give Green Bay 4 turnovers or 3 turnovers or 5 turnovers. Now we didn't,
Mm-hmm.
but Green Bay also they're more lethal in the pass game. And there were games that we played against Chicago that we couldn't afford to play against Green Bay. So
Mm-hmm.
um, this team has not looked good, honestly. We can go back to the Raider game. They beat the Raiders. They blew the Raiders out. To me, that was more of a testament to how bad the Raiders were at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Now they fired their head coach. They look completely better now. But we still played our C game against the Raiders and managed to blow the Raiders out. Could have been fool's gold. Are you shocked that coming out of the bye week, they're 2-1?
Mm-hmm.
One loss was to the Packers on Thanksgiving. They beat the Bears
Mm-hmm.
and they beat the Chargers last second games. Are you shocked that this team has looked this bad coming out of the bye week?
No, no, because like I said, it's almost like playing against the Raiders was like, I never took the Raiders seriously, you know what I'm saying? So it was almost like, okay, it was just a matter of how much we would beat them by. In my opinion, I don't respect the Raiders at all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that, remember the Chargers, everybody's like, oh, you crazy. You think they would lose to the Chargers? Because I look at the other side of the ball and I look at the quarterbacks. I look up the only reason why I think we are in this position of a seed of doubt. And I'm gonna say it right now, man. We said it during when we drafted Hendon Hooker at the time. And remember, we took all those we got all those YouTube haters talking about, we golf haters and stuff like that. And it came down to would
We
you,
start in trouble.
yeah, would you start in trouble, right? And it's almost like, okay, would you, you know, pay Jared Goff now or wait till then? Remember, we put that question out there. Not that I'm putting everything on him because I got a lot to say about the defense too, but I'm gonna say this, okay? I just believe that, yeah. I mean, I jumped off the man. I was saying Super Bowl would beat the Chargers because I thought that, you know, to score 41, a game that we kind of needed to score some points. I believe that. I think it's coming up here again against the Saints that we're gonna have to score 30 to beat them. I mean, the Saints are not a good team, But again, just like the Chargers, they're going to force the Lions to make plays, which I think is good for us. You know what I'm saying? And it wound up being a 41-point performance by our team. So what I'm saying is, yes, I'm totally I'm not surprised that the division games walk, because remember, we was 5-1 last year against division games. You could throw the records out. I mean, listen, we had beat the Packers with 4 straight games anyway within the division. Even with Aaron Rodgers, we had beat them 4 straight. So they was due to beat us anyway, but I just didn't like how it happened. I mean, every game, the 3 games the Lions lost, Baltimore, Chicago, Seattle, Packers, all 3 teams scored on the opening drive. You knew it was going to be a bear to beat the Packers, because the way they went down the field, just like with the Ravens, just like with Seattle. I mean, it just seems like the tone setter for the game, the play action fake is.
They had a point to prove too.
Exactly. Jordan
They
Love
almost beat us. They jumped on us the same way we jumped on them.
Yeah, hell yeah.
In Green Bay.
Hell yeah. And Jordan Love, remember, people, I don't know what the media was like kicking dirt on Jordan Love, saying that he sucked and he couldn't play. I mean, I don't think he may not be the next Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think that he's as bad as what the media says he is. I mean, that's crazy. I think Jordan Love is a really the couple of those balls he threw to Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, they were, I mean, those are pinpoint passes. Okay. I see Jared Goff, a guy that he won't even look down the field, Walt. I mean, that's part of the problem. I think and then two, as we get down the stretch, look at the schedule here: Saints, Bears, Broncos, Vikings twice, Cowboys mixed in there. I mean, these teams see the tape, man. You know what I'm saying? If you can't throw the ball past 7 yards, you're in trouble. I mean, the teams are not going to let you just do whatever you want, especially when your quarterback drops back and just like, they know he's not throwing it down the field. I remember the Carolina game I went to. I told you, what up, though, Chris? I seen Jameson Williams open like 4 times. I count on my hand, where it was just maybe it wasn't even down the field. What up, Zoe? It wasn't even like it was down the field, Walt, like 50 yards. It was like 20 yards down the field, and he didn't even look. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if the play is not right in front of him, it's a blown up play, man. It's just so frustrating, because I thought this team was a Super Bowl team. They're not. You know what I'm saying? That they're not. Period. They're not. So stop saying Super Bowl, because they're not. They can't beat the Eagles. I don't think we can beat the Cowboys. And I hate to say it. That's the team I really think the Lions had an advantage over. No way, man. No way. If you got a guy like DaRon Bland who's a ball hawk like that, that's like Seattle. That's the same thing Seattle plays the same way. That's recipe for disaster. They got a pass rush. Not being able to get to the quarterback is alarming to me. I don't understand that part of it. I do blame Aaron Glenn just a little for the defense that we're playing. But I mean, listen, we know what he has. I think they have performed good at times, but they've been awful, man. I'm just gonna be straight up with you. The defense been awful. Aaron Glenn's got some blame. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say they're somebody told me we got an elite defense. No, we don't. You know what I'm saying? The only way the game plan with Jared Goff is going to work if the play action work. And the play action ain't working, dude. We got a Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Period. He's a statue. He's not gonna make any plays down the field. You know what I'm saying? And that's the frustrating part, because the Lions, they have to have the running game going for them to do anything. You know what I'm saying? In the last 2 games, we've seen that, Walt, where Chicago took it away. Call it what you want. It's the division game. They studied the Lions. They knew what they had. They knew Dave Montgomery's game. They know him, his tendencies. The Packers, listen, they jumped on us early. You know what I'm saying? And it's another thing. If we get down on a team like Lamar Jackson did, if you're down 20-3, he ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a guy like Mahomes, Jalen Hurd. Them guys can come back, you know what I'm saying, because they throw the ball down the field. I don't understand how not. And then another thing with Dan Campbell blew the game too. I see that Chris said that, and Chris is right. To go for it on that, what was it? It was ridiculous. 23-yard line to go for it on a fake punt. I like that he's aggressive. And trust me, everybody pat Dan Campbell on the back when we make it. It's good. Everybody love it. Okay. But you got to know the situation, man. I mean, we had just scored a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. I don't understand like the rationale behind that play. You know what I'm saying? I can see remember they did the same play the first game of the season against the Chargers. Against the Chiefs, and it worked. I mean, I could see, okay, game one, you trying to do it.
Well, I mean, he admitted it was a bad decision on his part.
Yeah, that was horrible.
We all understood that. It was not, the gamble wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Now, those fake punts, they seem to work a whole lot more in the league because it catches teams off guard. If you time it right, it works.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, considering the direction the game was going in, the defense had just got a pretty big stop. Why the hell would you run that right there and risk that?
Yeah.
You handed Green Bay points.
Yeah.
You handed Green Bay points also on the fumble return.
Yeah.
The touchdown. So let's be honest. And then, not being able to stop Rashawn Gary. Like I got some issues, man. But back to what you were saying.
He was amazing. Yeah. And then too, Cam Sutton. He's been a sieve, man. The last 4 games. I watched Cam Sutton. It was a play. Christian Watson. He outran Cam Sutton by he wasn't even close to him. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can see you getting burnt, or a guy got a step on you and you in his grill a little bit and you were kind of in his jersey. Cam Sutton was just like, not, you know me, I'm always right. You got to be in the right spot on defense. And Cam Sutton has not been in the right spot, man. And Christian Watson is an average receiver at best. I mean, I'm not saying that he's horrible, but he ain't Justin Jefferson or nothing like that. I mean, he's average at best. Another thing, the over pursuit of Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, I like Hutch. I do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sick and tired of seeing him overrun the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? His own Cliff Averill used to do the same thing. It's like they got a bad angle. He's got a bad angle. I don't know what the hell. And trust me, I love Hutch. And Hutch, I'm not talking about him being held. I'm not giving that out to him. I'm not. If you're a prime time pass rusher in this league, right? F all excuses, man. The other guys get it done with 3 guys on them. You know what I'm saying? Aiden Hutchinson hasn't. He made the one big stop and got the safety, which I thought was a huge play when he did it. Other than that, he's been non-existent, man. I mean, I hate the way our team is playing right now. I really do. I hate it. Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara. I'm tired of seeing you. Remember, I told you during preseason, I said it's fool's gold to think that Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara, those guys. Where's Romeo Okwara? Where's not Julian, not 99? Where's 95? Where's he at? I haven't seen him. I don't. It's just weird. Isaiah Buggs is not playing. It's weird to me. I don't get what they're doing on defense. You know what I'm saying? I don't. You know what I'm saying? I see you got to have the right combination. This Bohanna guy, I get, whoever he is, we got him. I hate the way our team's playing right now. I do, especially on defense, because you can make up for the lack of not being able to have big plays. You can do that on defense. You can do that because hell, our defense is hell of enough. They'll keep us in the game, right? But any team, if your quarterback turns the ball over 6 times in 2 games, you're not going to win those games. We were lucky to beat Chicago because they don't have another guy that can throw it 40 yards down the field, you know what I'm saying, like Jordan Love or Justin Herbert. So that's my rant, man. I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? Because I really thought that I thought the Lions were better than they are. I mean, I still think they're a playoff team. But, man, I can't even say confident. Do you think – look at the schedule. Look at the schedule. And the listeners can be confident with a straight face and say this team's going to win 12 games. You lying. Anybody out there that says this team's going to win 4 out of the last 6, you lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
You want to be playing your best football at this point in time in the season, and we're not.
Right.
And you and I talked about this prior to the video. We just hope they haven't peaked, Hopefully they haven't peaked because you're talking about Minnesota, a team that's hungry, that's playing for something. They're gonna be motivated and full of fire to play us off rip, being the divisional opponent. You're done with Green Bay. You still got a cold, tough trip to Chicago in a couple weeks. Dallas is no layup.
No,
You're
hell
talking about
no.
playing Minnesota the last week of the season.
No way.
Denver gonna come in here. They hot right now. You know, regardless of how people may view Russell Wilson at this point in time in his career, he's still Russell Wilson, and he has played relatively well this season. And you're talking about Sean Payton. So you're talking about a matchup between the student and the teacher with Sean Payton versus Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn over there. That's something I think fans need to be concerned about too, because Aaron Glenn ran the defense for Sean Payton.
Yeah, I'm laughing at
Dan Campbell learned under Sean Payton.
I'm laughing at Avery.
You know, they got some talent over there. Denver got some receivers over there that can give us some problems. And if we can't get the Russ, that game doesn't look as easy as people may thought it was going to be 5-6 weeks ago. But there's a lot of comments about Hutch in the comment section. Lorenzo, what up? Lorenzo says Hutch gets way wide at some point. You got to get upfield. We've got glorified water boys with Payne, Harris, etc.
Isn't that? Well, have you seen a situation like this? Isn't this weird? I mean, to me, okay.
Listen, man, I'm gonna just say this, and this is a concern a lot of scouts had about Aiden Hutchinson coming out of college. Two concerns: one, the short ass arms, and his inability to keep tackles out of his chest. That's a huge problem for him. Second, which I think goes hand in hand with the first part, this dude has no finesse. He has no finesse. He has no versatility pass rush wise. Just watch him. I'm pretty sure you have. Just watch Aiden
I've seen it
on like 5 or 6 straight pass rush plays, man. If he can't get inside the shoulder pads and push you back and get loose, or put forth that same weak ass spin move, that's it. If he can't bull rush you and overpower you, which he's not going to do that at the next level, at this level, consistently, because these tackles too big, too athletic, too strong, reach too long. Yeah. That's why it's so important to have 3, 4, 5, 6 different moves. Look at Myles Garrett. And that's another thing too. I think Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa are the two best in the league, period, at transferring power to speed.
Yeah,
that's what the best do. Also, they got the best, got the moves, they got the go-to moves. They got move B for when you got to answer for move A. They got move C for when you got to answer for move B.
Yeah,
and if none of that works, I'm a crafting me my way around you get to the quarterback. He just seems to be a dude who reached his ceiling in 4 years at Michigan.
Well,
and we discussed this prior to the draft. Like, how much better did we see Aiden Hutchinson really becoming? You know, you look at last year now, your boy for Jacksonville, Trayvon Walker, has zero business going number 1 overall. But when you look at the physical attributes of Trayvon Walker, I can see why a lot of teams fell in love with Walker. He's bigger, he's more athletic, he's better sideline to sideline. He was a bigger raw ball of clay.
Yeah.
And that's what teams fall in love with. They fall in love with the guys that they can make great. That's i.e. your boy that got drafted by the Raiders this year, Tyree Wilson. Same thing. This is a dude who was 6'6", long legs, long arms, very athletic, a raw ball of clay, can play sideline to sideline, defend the run, as well as being a work in progress against the pass.
Yeah.
I saw why he went where he went. I just wonder, how much better is he going to get? Like, I've been hearing a lot of Lions fans throw around the comparison of Kyle Van Der Bosch. You know, you remember who Van Der Bosch being here, played in Tennessee as well. Being how often, even when you look at Aiden sacks, most of them are effort sacks.
Well, right now he ain't getting any sacks. I mean,
he ain't getting none right now. But even his first couple years in the league, I mean, it's not like he's just beating this guy with this move, beating this guy with that move, a snatch pull, over under. Like, he's not a swim move, a stop and go, transfer power to speed. Like, he's not doing none of that.
Well, the only thing I can say is this too, because it seems like remember last year when kind of people was kind of getting on Aiden Hutchinson a little bit. and then it was almost like Aaron Glenn was moving them up and down the line. It don't seem like we're doing that as much. And maybe that's because
the Giant game was a game where okay, they standing him up more.
They haven't been doing.
They're throwing some 3-4 looks out there, and we're gonna get into this 4-2-5 defense too. But you're right,
because listen, God bless, and Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil has been great, man. I mean, it's just so much that you could do. You know what I'm saying? Anzalone's been good. You know what I'm saying? It's been some bright spots. I think the back end is not elite. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like, man, we straight in the backfield, and now we're not. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Well, I think that's stopping us from being an elite team this year. I mean, to me, I just think that, not that this is a whole funeral thing about the season, but it's like, man, it's not the way I thought it was going to go. It's not, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. I mean, for me, I mean, to win the division, I mean, that's something we haven't done. So that's a good thing. But what pisses you off is you see that this is a year in the NFL where I truly believe somebody's going to win it that we probably didn't think it was going to win. I mean, yeah, obviously we can look at Philly right now. Philly looks really good, but they got their flaws too. You know what I'm saying? We seen Seattle. They're not. I mean, Seattle's probably like us a little bit. You know what I'm saying? In some ways. So I really just believe that. I mean, I was duped. I thought that the Lions were a Super Bowl team. That's why I keep saying that, and we're not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. And somebody said we haven't won division yet, and I think that that's going to be. I mean, and the two, who is this? Jesse said the same thing. Yeah, what do you expect in a year's time? I mean, that's a loser mentality to say, well, what do you expect? Because they won 9 games last year. I expect them to go to the freaking Super Bowl like everybody else. You know, that's what I expect this year. And we got duped thinking we had an elite quarterback. The minute they started saying Jared Goff was an MVP, we was in trouble. We looked at it, and he's an MVP that, MVP this. He's playing great football. And what do? He crapped the bed. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you could say whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Jared Goff, I know people don't want to talk about that subject. You know what I'm saying? People think that the quarterback is off limits all the time. And the fact of the matter, and the fact of the matter is if you don't have one, you ain't winning nothing. You know, and that's bull. They didn't lose as a team. If you weren't watching, was I watching? Okay, they lost the game, first of all, being down early because they couldn't stop their way out of cardboard box. You let Christian Watson, the first play of the game, 50 yards down the field. That's unexcusable. You know what I'm saying? It's unexcusable to turn the ball over 3 times. Okay, to give field position to a less than team. You know what I'm saying? And listen, Jordan Love is better than what. Jordan Love looking real good right now. I tell you that. At least Jordan Love throws the ball 40 yards down the field. Period. Right? Tell me this. Would you rather have Jordan Love throwing Jameson Williams the football, or would you rather have Jared Goff who throws 7 yards down the field? Thank you. I just answered your question.
I mean, well,
I'm telling you.
Listen. Walt, the arm talent is no comparison.
Okay, well,
the arm talent is no comparison.
Well, we drafted the wrong. We drafted the wrong guy. Period. We drafted the wrong guy. I mean, I'm just let's be honest.
At what position?
We drafted a receiver. Why did you take Jameson Williams?
Oh, Jameson.
We should have never took him because he can't get the ball, Walt. You should have never took the guy. Period.
Well, okay, so that's gonna get into what I was about to say now. Yeah. I was just about to say that we talked about the ceiling.
Yeah.
The ceiling that me and you both and a lot of fans are here believe this team has.
Yeah.
Someone had in the comment section, Jesse Hudson, that we lost as a team. That's 1,000% true.
I don't believe that.
We lost as a team against Chicago. I thought they played shitty. All across the board, defensively, offensively, everybody wants to dump all on Aaron Glenn every time we have a game like Chicago, every time we have a game like Green Bay. What about all those empty-ass possessions? How much do you expect your defense to do when the offense is getting picks? They're giving the ball up left and right. Whether it's 3 picks, that should have been 5 picks against the Bears last week, 6 days ago. Or it's the 2 fumbles in the first half.
Yeah.
Look at all the extra possessions you giving the offense.
Yeah, that's
But I mean, I do understand that there's a part of this fan base that just wants Glenn gone, just period. But if you look at the overall realm of the game, and this goes back to, and I keep saying this, where every time everybody wants to tear down the defense, tear down Aaron Glenn, how many quality resources have been invested on that side of the ball?
yeah, I agree.
Since Holmes and Campbell got here, they've taken care of the offensive side of the ball. Now, granted, we didn't get much from Bob Quinn, but he did leave us Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker. Those right there are two good building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then with your very first pick in the draft, as a Detroit Lion GM, you took Penei Sewell, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But you traded up for Jameson Williams. You traded up. Actually, you traded back to take Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, you took Sam Laporta when you took a tight end that was showing promise in the 5th round a year ago, and James Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
And Mitchell hasn't even seen the field, honestly, this season.
Yeah, he's been non-existent. Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. Like, you're investing in the offensive side of the ball, but not doing the damn thing really for the defense. I don't want to hear about Broderick Martin, a 3rd round pick that you traded up for that gets consistent DNPs, coaches' decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing. He can barely dress. I don't want to hear about Mosley, who played 2 plays and then took his ass back to the damn doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all paid all this money for Sutton, who's not a lockdown corner, who Pittsburgh says, you know what? Nah, that's a little too rich for our blood. You can go ahead and test the market, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And he tested the market, and he got the money from our asses.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest about it. You went out and you paid a 4th damn safety in Chauncey Gardner, who played 2 games. A game and a half, I think, and was done middle of the Seattle game. You paid him
a
4th damn safety instead of a corner.
Jerry Jacobs.
You went ahead and you released Sterling Thomas, who was showing promise in the preseason.
Yeah, for cheap too.
Who looked like your best corner.
Yeah, that you didn't have to pay. He's on a rookie contract too.
You let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Gilmore, Stephon Gilmore's brother, played very well over all the preseason. What did you do? You buried him in the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this Stan Van Gundy? Like, is he running the team now?
Yeah.
Oh no, bro, you showing too much talent to the bench.
Yeah.
No, bro, we don't do that talented shit around here. Take your ass to the bench. We about hard work.
Yeah. And
I bet not catch you dribbling between your legs. none of that hot dog shit around here, boy.
Yeah. And
you to the bench. It's killing me, man. Dude. It's obvious what we needed, and you and I got duped. A lot of us got duped during the preseason. Yeah. Oh man, do you see John Kaminsky? This might be the year Kaminsky take the next step. Maybe Kaminsky ain't got a next step.
I got him in the room for you.
Maybe Bugs ain't got a next step. Shit, maybe your boy, maybe Broderick Martin don't have a step at all. I think sometimes, man, and then I'm gonna pass it back over to you, Ashanti. But I think sometimes as fans, and it ain't just fans here in Detroit, it's fans everywhere across America. Like, we overvalue our players way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. And we think that, oh, you know what, we don't need nobody else from another team. We don't need any of those talented, quote unquote, bad apple guys because they're not part of our culture. That's bullshit.
No. Yeah.
Look at that. I watched before the Seattle Frisco game, Thanksgiving night, I watched the replay of the playoff game from a year ago, and that was minus Chase Young. You looking at Eric Armstead, you looking at Javon Hargrave, you looking at Bosa. Give that Seattle offensive line the fluff.
Yeah, Fred Warner, yeah.
You win with talent, period. And to not address the defensive side of the ball, what have you given Aaron Glenn, honestly? Supposedly they wanted Will Anderson, who's turned out to be a really solid building block for the Houston Texans. They wanted him. You ain't had the guts to really trade up to get him. So you stayed put. Supposedly you wanted Devon Witherspoon for Illinois. You didn't have the guts to go trade up and get him. You passed on Christian Gonzalez, who before he tore his pec, he was on pace to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. You didn't want him either. Right along with Jalen Carter, who you didn't want neither.
Yeah. Yep.
So when are you going to get real about the defensive side of the ball and put some legit talent over there? We don't have any guys. We got a bunch of dudes, and a bunch of dudes has been proven in the NFL to only get you so far. can you win with team football and a bunch of guys who play as one? Yeah, you can win 9 games. You can win 10 games with that, maybe 11. Depending on if you got a quality field goal kicking and all that good stuff. But you got a middle of the road quarterback in the middle of all of that too.
Yeah, and Jesse was right. I mean, it is like both sides of the ball is problems. But what I'm saying is this: when you get down 7-0, right? Like we were against the last 2 games. And it's almost like the pressure is already mounting. You know what I'm saying? Now Goff did come back and score a touchdown on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? They missed the extra point, made it 7-6. And it was just like, okay, we got the ball. Everything's back equal again. But it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, now Goff did do what he was supposed to do. Hell, he got us back in the end zone, tied the game. Well, got in end zone immediately. But the defense, it's almost like, like in NBA, like, when you have a run and you keep the run going, you know what I'm saying? You can have a bad stretch, 4 or 5 minutes, and it can determine the game. It's almost like that's how the Lions, they play like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, will Jared Goff continue to turn the ball over at an alarming rate? No, I don't think not so much. For me, I'm just talking about the plays that you have to have. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's all predicated on play action fake. But now I do think the second half of the season, the teams are gonna defend us differently. You know what I'm saying, Walt? Because they know, and I think Avery said it best. You know what I'm saying? I think teams gonna try to jump on us. That's the recipe for this team to beat the Lions. Every team has a blueprint to beat the other team, right? So teams say, hey, what did Chicago do? They took the ball. And remember, coin toss, they said, no, we taking the ball. We bought at Green Bay, we taking the ball. We going to get on the field first, you know what I'm saying? And make Jared Goff make some plays, make this offense, put them behind the 8 ball, things like that. You know what I mean? My rant's over, about the loss. I was pissed, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I just think that, it's an opportunity. And when you don't take it, we know, like, look at Buffalo. Like, the window is not open very long. Okay. When you're a good team, you gotta you gotta kick the door open, you gotta take advantage, and you gotta, execute and stuff like that and win the game. The problem is just frustrating because everything has got to work for this team to, you know what I'm saying? Everything. I hate saying that because we're not good enough yet.
Well, the team goes as the quarterback goes, and our quarterback needs everything to work properly for him. I mean, just being honest about it, Baltimore did it to him, the Bears did it to him, and the Packers did it to him on Thanksgiving. And I told you, like, there were at least a good 5 or 6 players on Thanksgiving where I looked, I'm like, yeah, Jalen Hurts would have got out of that and would have picked up a first down with his legs. Lamar would have got out of that. It was plays, even Joe Burrow, even though Joe hurt right now. Joe ain't the most athletic, but Joe's mobile enough to run and scoop and get you 12 or 13 yards. Whenever they got the drop on Goff, it was over. There was one, I think it was the second Rashawn Gary sack, where I saw the entire sack developing. And Goff, he was coming from Goff's blind side. Goff saw him coming. Gary was at least 5 to 6 yards behind Goff. And the moment Goff took off the run, it was like somebody nailed his feet to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's very important in this day and age in the NFL, is having a quarterback who can extend plays.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't want a quarterback who, if the offensive line isn't playing great, the offensive philosophy and scheme is dead. And that's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like. Yep.
Because he can't move.
That's right.
He cannot move, and everything is dead. He's not a Big Ben who can just stand in the pocket, hold on to the football, sling some guys off, and then launch it 60 yards downfield to Antonio Brown for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He's not that big arm gunslinger like that. He's how can I put this? He's a ball protecting game manager with a lesser arm.
Yeah.
And people can keep making excuses for him and the misconnections between him and J-Mo downfield. It's your job as a quarterback. Listen, y'all traded up to the number 12 pick to draft Jameson Williams because you felt his speed brought a different dynamic to the offense that could take you to the next level. So now people are saying he needs to tone his speed down. No, he don't need to tone his speed down. He needs to get better as far as the different nuances of playing wide receiver in the NFL, get better and learn how to judge his speed and gauge his speed better. I'll give him that. But you got these golf apologists who every time there's an incompletion between him and J-Mo, oh, God, J-Mo. You got to adjust, J-Mo. You got to slow up a little bit. You got to turn. Like, dude, how about get Jared Goff throw the ball to this gazelle in stride?
Yeah.
And he stopped having to turn and wait on every damn ball that comes his way. How about the ball that's placed to his left outside shoulder where he can just catch in his stride and run?
Yeah, because
you said it best. We going back to last season. The Jet game, he underthrew him on a clear touchdown to a clear deep post, underthrew him. Ball got broke up by the safety read for the Jets.
Yeah.
Go back to the Green Bay game. He underthrew him twice last season, the last game of the season.
The Tampa game, remember?
Like, let's be real, man. This dude is leaving touchdowns on the field.
Yeah.
Now, nobody cared when you was winning and you was playing efficient football, but now you turning the ball over, bro. That can't go.
Yeah.
The moment you start turning the ball over too much and it ain't like you bouncing back. People talk a lot of mess about Josh Allen. Josh got the arm talent to bounce back and make huge plays.
Yeah.
With his feet or with his legs.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're limited with this guy. That doesn't mean he isn't good. And a lot of people feel like, oh, well, you're downing him. You're saying he's not the guy. No, everybody in the league, it ain't too many guys in the league. We being honest about it. There ain't too many guys in the league I think either you and I can look at and say right now, yep, you can win with him.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm going to win with him. Yep, I'm going to win with him.
Yeah.
It ain't too many of them. A lot of these guys are just guys.
Yeah. And Walt, like you said, too, I think that, like I said, if you got a quarterback that's not elite, that's fine. You could look at like Brock Purdy. I think that the 49ers are so like relentless and so intimidating on defense where they can make it happen. You know what I'm saying? You can make it happen, man. It could be like you don't have to have like a Pat Mahomes to win. You can, but we're not ready for that yet. You know what I'm saying? I thought we were because I thought the defense was like kind of better, but we're not, man. That's all I'm saying in this whole thing, because when you don't have a quarterback. Like you said, you only learn. I think Ryan Clark said it too on ESPN. He was totally right. Like the Lions have plateaued. You know what I'm saying? To where you've watched enough football. Because some people say you negative. Some people say, oh well, the season's not over, and they are. We're not saying that. But it wouldn't surprise me to only win 10 games. You know what I'm saying? That would be a disappointment to be.
Yeah,
and then finish 10-7. You know what I'm saying? That's Jim Caldwell-esque. You know what I'm saying? They did that when Caldwell was here. You know what I'm saying? So really, in a nutshell, if we finish 10-7 with a playoff, the only thing I think the Lions got in their hip pocket is the division, which they haven't won. You know what I'm saying? So we can win the division and say, hey, we've done something this year that we haven't done since 1993, stuff like that. So I do think, okay, for that, you can't call it a season of disappointment, but you can obviously maybe, like you said before, well, maybe it was us as fans, maybe just going too quick with this team. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they aren't this juggernaut like we thought. You know what I'm saying? Listen, they've done some good things this year. You know what I'm saying? Dave Montgomery's been great. That pickup, which we kind of questioned that at the beginning of free agency. I was glad to see Jahmyr Gibbs, get off the schneid because people are saying he was a bust. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is part of this team. We know that. You know what I'm saying? We've seen some good things from Alim McNeil. He's been great. Anzalone, Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell, to me, he's done some nice things. And I think Jesse somebody pointed out the injury to Gardner Johnson, I think, did set the tone a little bit for the back end because I do think they're without a leader still. Like Tracy Walker, and God bless him. I like Tracy Walker. One of my favorites. I'm glad he stayed and was kind of like the main guy in the locker room, stuff like that. But think about it. Kirby Joseph, relatively young still. Brian Branch is a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Jacobs, I think the Jerry Jacobs experience is over, man. This year, I mean, I think you got to move on. You know what I'm saying, from Jerry Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, and get, and like you said, and get a
I'm
formidable.
glad you mentioned that
You
too,
know,
because people see picks, people see
yeah,
interceptions, and they automatically tie that to quality
yeah,
coverage.
but against he hasn't done it in weeks. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. The quarterbacks you're playing against, you haven't done it in
Yeah,
weeks, man. It's good. Remember, I said it's good to high five and laugh and dance and celebrate when you playing Bryce Young, who's a rookie with no weapons. Okay, you playing Jimmy Garoppolo on against the Raiders on Monday night, where the Raiders are a non-factor. Period. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to have fun, but now, hey, the rubber meets the road. Now you got to play the Vikings twice. Get an interception against Russell Wilson when it matters in the third quarter. You know what I'm saying? Get an interception against. Listen, people laugh, but that New Orleans game is going to be just like the Chargers. You're going to have to score to beat that team. So again, we could be 8-4 staring at a game at Chicago, a pissed off Chicago team that got embarrassed and laughed at. Think about that. In the cold, Jared Goff was a California boy. He don't like that cold weather. You know what I'm saying? So you think Jared Goff's going to throw for 350 yards against the Bears? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. So all of these scenarios now play ahead now that you got to look now losing the game against Green Bay when you could have been 9-2, and now some of these games turn into be important games now. You know what I'm saying? When I was saying that they needed to wrap this thing up before they played on December 30th or December 30th against the Dallas Cowboys. That could be worst case scenario for the Lions if they need to win like 2 out of the last 3, and with 2 with Minnesota and 1 with Dallas. That could be a recipe for disaster. I'm just telling you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just looking at it.
Well,
Denver
Leach
not going to
has,
be an easy game, Walt. Denver defense.
no, it's not.
They can bring it, man. They bring it on the edge, and they got a good secondary. So,
yeah, I mean, well, Mike Leach had a valid point. I found in his comment: put all the best players on the field at the same time and let Goff call the shots. I don't know about letting Goff call the shots, but the first part of that I agree with, and I really agree with you. I believe when it comes to the defense. You and I discussed this in the pre-show, and I've been saying this since the offseason. I'm not a big fan of the 4-2-5 defense, especially if you don't have guys up front that can wreak havoc and really, for lack of a better phrase, fuck shit up. We don't have none of those guys. Chris Styles made a comment about Jalen Carter, and we're not going to get back into Jalen Carter on this show because we've discussed Jalen Carter consistently all season long, going back to the end of last season through the draft process. But he's right. We had an opportunity to at least pick up the phone at the beginning of the free agency and call the Tennessee Titans about Jeffrey Simmons. Don't know if they did or not, but we had an opportunity to at least do that. Nothing ever came of it. We had an opportunity all offseason to call the Jets about Quentin Williams. Nothing ever developed from it. We had an opportunity to draft Jalen Carter. We had an opportunity to draft Jordan Davis a year ago, and nothing ever transpired of it. Something needs to be done. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the 4-2-5. I'm a bigger fan of what Mike Leach said in this comment right here. I feel that when your defensive scheme should be based upon the talent you have.
Yep.
We have more talent at linebacker and edge rusher than we do on the defensive line. We will be better off just running a base 3-4, putting Bugs in the middle and nose, and until we get the right edge rushers, the right defensive lineman complete. Theoretically, you would like a longer, bigger athlete at each edge rusher with each defensive end position. But until then, you will have Kaminsky at one end. You'll have Aleem McNeil at the other end. That at least gives you 2 guys inside, outside, moving left, and Bugs and McNeil who can demand a double team. And then you put your 4 best edge rushers out there.
Yeah.
You know, you have what's the name? What's that boy name? Julian. I was about to say Romeo Core, but you'll have Julian Okwara at one outside linebacker, weak side. More than likely, you'll have Hutchinson as strong outside linebacker on the strong side. Then in the middle, you'll have Alexander Anzalone at one linebacker middle, and you'll also go ahead and be able to put Jack Campbell on the field. That's our best chance, I believe, at playing good defense.
Yeah.
Coverage-wise, if they want to start going to more Tampa 2 looks, they can do that with guys like Anzalone and Jack Campbell on the middle of the defense, in the middle of the field. And we're not talented enough on the defensive line right now to be running that defense. And the linebacking core, okay, so you got Anzalone out there. He's overachieved. He's had a decent season. But those two, whether you pair him with Barnes or you pair him with Jack Campbell right now, that's not good enough. And then you pair that with the fact that the secondary has never been good enough. People really looked at that cornerback room and said, we're fine.
Yeah.
People really did that over this offseason.
Well, that was Brad Holmes. Well, that's Brad Holmes, though.
Well, there's a lot of this fan base that thought it was okay, too. You and I didn't think that shit was okay, but it was a lot of people that said, oh, you know what? Jacobs is back. He's one of our best young players, and Chase Lucas is back now. They got him, and then, but like I said, they let go. Gilmore doesn't see the field at all. And then you let Starlin Thomas go. In a room that you had one cornerback on a one-year deal, and Emmanuel Mosley, who will not be back. You got a safety in C.J. Gardner-Johnson on a one-year deal who probably won't be back. And you had zero idea on what you were going to get out of Cam Sutton. And for you to go into the draft and not draft one single corner, not one.
Yeah.
And not even put forth a competent effort to even get one in free agency. People really thought that was okay. And not even looking forward to the future. You're not going to pay 4 damn safeties. Let's be honest about it. This 4.25 is only going to last for so long with them 4 damn safeties out there because you're going to pay Kirby Joseph and Branch. Those are the 2 young pieces. More than likely, CJ is going to get a bigger deal somewhere else. He may go back to New Orleans. Who knows? He may go back to Philly. Philly does need some help in that secondary. They got a lot of guys. They're kind of older now that can't really stay healthy. And then Tracy Walker, what you gonna do with him? You can't pay 4 safeties.
Yeah. I think Tracy Walker.
So it's gonna eventually end up going back to a base 3-4, or I'm even in favor of a 4-3. I just don't think that we have the talent. Because you and I go back to the draft, we talked about the right defensive ends to run a 4.25. We don't have none of that shit across the board, except for Aiden Hutchinson at left defensive end. That's why we pounded the table so much for Myles Murphy. Who's in Cincinnati right now. It's hard for him to get on the field right now because look what he's playing by. And Hendrickson and all those boys. But Myles was 6'5", 270.
Myles and Myles Murphy.
And could play the run.
Man, he looked good.
Could rush the passer. Yes.
Man. And it's like
he fit.
Right. And it's like somebody said too, I think it was Chris Stock. Chris always on point. Chris, it was saying that the offense is sort of like we was even talking about the offense during the pre-show. We were saying, hell, draft one of these receivers. You know what I'm saying? Now we still back to square one. We even like receiver is still an option in the first 2 rounds.
I mean, it is.
Trust me, and I don't even want to think about the draft right now because this season, man, ain't over. But man, like you said, it make you think about. Like you said, you can't help but to revert back to.
It makes you look at your faults.
Yeah, exactly.
Your flaws.
Now, the offensive line, I do like. You know what a good piece has been? I think somebody just put sourced off been good. I think that was a good pick. Brad Holmes. As far as the offensive,
Vitae being beaten up has hurt them too.
And then the only excuse I'm gonna give the defensive backfield is I think that was a big blow while getting CJ Gardner. I think him getting hurt, was a big blow. I think that they were really thinking on, like you said, the forced safety thing hasn't gelled the way we thought. And then, like you said, we was head scratcher to begin with, you know what I'm saying? Because we had so many interchangeable pieces that didn't fit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, even like you said, Brian Branch, like the Lions are good. It looked good, didn't it? When Brian Branch took that one to the house against Pat Mahomes in week 1, right? It looked good, right? Everybody was like, oh, man, this is going to be great. Brian Branch is going to be a guy who's going to be another Ed Reed out there. He's going to be a guy making plays. Listen, Brian
Off
Branch.
one interception.
He got one. That's what I'm saying. That was week
He the
one.
next Brian Dawkins.
Right.
That was me a couple weeks ago.
That was September 8th when we did that. When we played that game. Not saying that Brian Branch isn't good, but let's be honest. I mean that's the whole point. I think Brian Branch doesn't excel without a Jalen Carter, a guy that's getting pressure up front. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you can have the balls to put Jerry Jacobs out there with no pass rush. You playing Russian roulette, man, the rest of the season. Look at the wide receivers we're gonna go against. Chris Olave. We got CeeDee Lamb, staring at us. You know what I'm saying? We got Cortland Sutton staring at us. Jerry Jeudy. God forbid. Oh my God, Justin Jefferson comes back. That you already know. KJ Osborne, they give us problems anyway, right? So, man, to me, it's just real. It's unsettling. That's all I'm saying. To see what's ahead and what's going on. The cold weather game against Chicago is going to be bad, I think, man. I know, and I can't believe we've come to this, and now we're saying this because now the way they've played since the Charger game has really like opened my eyes to some things that maybe we asking them something that they can't do right now. Like say you brought up John Kaminsky, like.
There we go. There we go. I'm glad that's it right there.
Right. And like I said, that God bless Lee McNeil because he playing his ass off. I think Lee McNeil is really
not worth big money.
No, that's what I'm saying. But he's trying hard, right? Because I mean, he's like he's trying hard, and occasionally he'll fall into a sack, and it's like, oh man, Lee McNeil.
But you don't want to fall into the trap of overpaying your guy.
There we go.
And that's what we keep getting back to.
Yep, John Kaminsky, just these guys, Charles Harris. It's just, man, it's just frustrating. That's all. I mean, we just voicing our opinion on just being able to just see our team and just know, like, listen, we're not good enough. I mean, they're not even on a level of Philly and San Fran. It's not even close, Walt. I mean, I see a big time loss in the playoffs.
We also discussed this, man. I think it's good for not only the fan base, but the organization to see the team in this light from time to time because it brings you back to earth about some of the deficiencies of this team. You look around the league, you look at the Houston Texans, how terrible they look with relatively the same receiving core with Davis Mills the last 2 years. They put the right quarterback in place, and look at them. They pushing the ball downfield. Tank Dell is balling out of control. Nico Collins, Noah Brown, who couldn't see the field in Dallas, as a receiver. He looks like a bona fide number 2 right now, a number 3 option.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked at the difference the right quarterback makes. And I think a lot of times as fans, we fall in love with what's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like being not secure enough within yourself to date up a little bit. A lot of times people feel like, well, you know what? He or she's good enough. Yeah, I don't want to lose him or her because what I'm going to get if I go out here. Like, that's not how you reach greatness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You look around the league, man, the right quarterback can put you in the right positions, man. There were too many possessions against the Bears. Too many possessions against, well, I'm not going to say the Ravens. The Ravens damn near tore that man's head off. But protection-wise and everything, there were too many instances against the Bears and the Packers where a more athletic quarterback would have extended that play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the name of the game now, play extension. You don't have to necessarily be Michael Vick out there or Randall Cunningham, but you need to at least be a threat to move.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not, then you're just playing 1980s football.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people want to hold on to the classic drop back, tall quarterback, survey the field, go through all your reads. That's not cutting it anymore. Unless you just big time elite as far as, arm talent wise, and golf isn't that either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think people need to get used to this because there's going to be teams we go against that are going to shut him down because the word is out now what to do to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They love to utilize the middle of that field. We don't go outside the numbers at all. Last year they tried. Now I will give them an excuse. Maybe it's because they don't have like that typical bona fide X receiver on the outside like they had in DJ Chark. They took more shots outside with DJ Chark when Chark was here, when Chark was healthy. But this team, that's why when I bring up wide receiver being an option in the first round this year, or wide receiver being an option at the top of the second round of the draft in April, I'm dead serious about that because this team is missing that. Remember, Reynolds is probably gone after this year. It would be goofy to bring Reynolds back now. Reynolds serves a certain role for us, but we can upgrade over Reynolds. Peoples-Jones in 2 games, what now?
Yeah.
Nothing. We haven't got nothing from Peoples-Jones. Should we have expected anything? I don't know, but we've gotten nothing. Jameson, we still don't know with Jameson. There's nothing in Jameson or any of those receivers or even Khalif Raymond that's stopping me from saying, you know what? Even though this is a name that won't be there, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is on the board. There's nothing that's stopping me in that receiver room from taking him. Yeah. Or a Keon Coleman or a Malik Neighbors of LSU. There's nothing in our receiver room right now that's stopping me from taking one of those dudes if they on the board. All based upon what else is out there. So, man, dude, they got to upgrade, bro. They got to, because if you have no outside attack on the boundaries, outside the numbers, you really don't have any offense. Because the offense is already predicated off the run game. The word is out. Everybody know that shit. They've known that about us the past 3 years.
Yeah.
But when that running game ain't working and y'all can't challenge outside the numbers, what the hell are y'all going to do? You're going to look like shit for 3 quarters. And that's exactly what they look like. That's why another reason why it bothers me, everybody wants to fire AG, get rid of AG, AG this, AG that. Stop giving the opposing offense so many damn extra possessions.
Yeah.
How you gonna jump on AG when the offense is turning the ball over, giving his defense short ass fields to defend? The fake punt gave Green Bay the ball right at the 22-yard line, our 22-yard line. But we're gonna tear AG apart because his defense gave up the score, right?
Yeah.
You got to look at the grand scheme of things. I understand there are people who don't like Aaron Glenn, never will, and will never give him any credit for anything. But you got to look at the game, the overall circumference of the game for what it is. They giving up way too many extra possessions, way too many. And to go back to a point you made about 15 minutes ago about turnovers and Goff potentially not turning the ball over as much as he has. We've seen this happen to quarterbacks before. And it seems to happen to like middle of the road, second tier quarterbacks. They always seem to revert back to who they were. We've been saying this about Geno Smith. You get good Geno for a stretch of 2 or 3 games, then you get questionable Geno. You'll get good Jared Goff for half a season if everything around him goes right. His offensive line stays completely healthy. The defense plays well. Yeah, you're going to get quality play from Goff. But more times than not, when second-tier quarterbacks start turning the ball over, that shit's like a disease, man. Remember when Matt Schaub in Houston was actually good? And then it's like out the blue, he just couldn't stop throwing picks.
Yeah.
Just out the blue, he just couldn't start. He couldn't stop throwing picks.
Because he wound up going to Atlanta, right? Atlanta signed him a big money.
Remember, he started out in Atlanta, and then they traded him to Houston. Yeah. And then he became a starter in Houston. He went to a Pro Bowl or 2 in Houston. But when Schaub fell off, he fell off, and the picks just came like crazy. Think about the end of Carson Palmer's career. Carson threw them 7 interceptions in that playoff game against Carolina and was never the same after that. Pick six, fumble. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen to him, because I don't want to see this team waste the season. It would be heartbreaking to see a team that was once 8-2 mess around and miss the playoffs.
I don't think it's that
mess around and blow the division, and we end up the damn wild card.
Boy,
at Frisco.
That would be that's a possibility. Oh boy,
and Minnesota wins the division.
Yeah, that would suck. But
yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
that's heartbreaking.
And then too, like you said, now, like, you know, though that's why I'm thinking about like what happens if we don't win this next game, man. You know what I'm saying? Which is a possibility, Walt. You know what I'm saying? What happens if we go to New Orleans and again they jump on us? Because again, that's the environment inside the dome. inside the dome, fast track. Chris Olave again. They receive what's the
A defense that likes to generate
yeah,
pressure, likes
man.
to blitz.
Shaheen, you got Shaheen, all-purpose Swiss Army knife, like
Cam
yup,
Jordan,
like I'm just talking about their offense.
Brian Breesy.
Yeah, Brian Breesy, right, from Clemson. Now,
Breesy been decent for
yeah,
them too.
he been all right. Yeah, Brian Breesy been all right in the middle. He been doing okay. But I'm looking at the offense because it's going back to Jared Goff to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the weapons
Chris,
that
man.
they have because if you okay, if we go there and already 14 zip against Derek Carr and the mighty Saints. How do you think that game's going to turn out if we can't get no pressure? You know what I'm saying? If we can't pressure the quarterback, if we can't, remember, it's all nice and good and dandy when you're getting a tip for a fumble. I mean, a tip interception, when you're getting
But there's another problem. They're not opportunistic either.
Last
So y'all
year
give
we
up a
was.
ton of yards, y'all get short fields, and you can't take the ball away, and you can't create any sacks.
Last year seemed like we was more opportunistic than this year. It just seemed like now we just sticking to our guns and then just seeing if we can just, the other team can just outplay us, and they have for 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? We got away with it against the Chargers. Remember, we won that game by a field goal. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's almost like, you don't want to say that, it's desperate. A team be 8-3. How can they be desperate? You know what I'm saying? We're 8-3. We're playoff bound. How can you say the season's in jeopardy and you're 8-3? You know what I'm saying? But we just
do the number.
Yeah, and I see the body language.
It's only 8 wins. That's all we at right now is 8 wins. It's gonna take at least,
man, it's
the 7th seed is gonna have at least 10 wins.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking at.
At least 10.
Right? Okay. Well, we got 6 games left. Okay. Let's just play this game right quick. Okay. Right here, right now. I mean, we're not gonna do a prediction show per se right now, but you confident we're gonna beat the Saints our next game? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
No, I'm not, because I was confident that they wouldn't turn in the same performance against Green Bay that they turned in against Chicago, and they slapped me in the face and spit in my eye.
Okay. Next game at Chicago. Now it's December. That'll be December 10th, God willing. We make it see that. Hey, December 10th. It ain't gonna be 50 and sunny. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be hard football. Am I confident?
Yeah, that we can win that game.
No, because they've outside of, was it the New Year's Day game last year against Chicago? Outside of that game, they've been struggling to handle fields.
Yeah. Okay.
So am I confident in it? No.
Okay.
Because even considering how they came back and beat Chicago 6 days ago, that's not going to happen it's not going to happen against a good team. And it's not going to happen against a team repeatedly. Even if the Bears are bad, you give a team 4 extra possessions and they only generate 4 field goals. That's not happening that often, man.
Yep.
So it's a good chance we did that shit against the Bears again. The Bears actually scored touchdowns on us this time.
Yeah.
So no, confident, no. I'm not confident in any of these games because everybody seems to be playing for something now.
Man, now, man, Fidel said the same thing. That Dallas game will be huge, man. Them 2 Minnesota games, that Dallas game,
that Denver game gonna be huge too.
That was the last game I was gonna ask you. These next 3 games, okay. I want everybody that's listening that even care about it, right? These next 3 games, this is the season to me. You know what I'm saying? Because if they don't win them, then you find yourself in a situation where you're 8-5, and then you got 4 games left, and it ain't guaranteed, man. That's all. And 2 of them against the Vikings, which is kind of, we win 1, they win 1. We've been kind of consecutive. You know what I'm saying? Man, like I said, this season says.
Oh no! If they fall into that box of win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, some shit like that, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, because like you said, dude, the schedule makers set this up the way they did for a reason.
Hell yeah.
And I said it before the season started, that week 18 game here against Minnesota is going to end up deciding the division. It is.
Yeah.
It is, because it's just too hard, man, and I granted myself, after the Charger game, actually during the bye week, I said there's no way this team doesn't go into that Minnesota game in a couple weeks with at least 12 wins. I got to take that back now.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think right now the any given Sunday moniker goes into this more than it does any other time because it's difficult. We see sometimes teams will go, and it's always, sometimes it's just completely unexplainable. As a team, you can go into these little droughts, these little ruts, when ain't nothing going right. I don't know, are they practicing too hard? And that's something else a coach brought up to me a couple of days ago about the Lions. Like, Dan Campbell and Mark Schmidt also brought it up on Detroit Lions News a couple months ago in the podcast episode. Detroit Lions camp is not one of the easier camps to take part in the league. Like, Campbell and those boys coach hard. They practice hard. They study tremendous. So at some point in time, it can be wearing on the team. I will say that. I don't know how they practice throughout the week. But another thing is they don't look as fast and decisive and explosive. They look tired to me. Chris Styles brought this up at the beginning of the show, and I meant to get back to the comment. He said this about Goff. I believe it also applies to the rest of the team. They look slow. They look beat up right now. They look tired. Yeah. Now, that could just be me reading too much shit into it because they're losing. And when you losing, you start reading everything into it. Man, y'all losing because y'all got that snotty tissue on the floor in the locker room. Clean this pig style up. That's why y'all ain't winning. Y'all pigs around here. Like you start blaming everything for losing. But
yeah, for sure.
Could that be it? Like, are they worn down and then have they plateaued? Have we overestimated the amount of talent on this team? Like, there's no elite talent on that defense. We still have our hopes out there for Aiden that he becomes a Nick Bosa, and people say, well, he may never be Garrett or one of those guys. Then why the hell you take him number 2 overall? I mean, let's be honest about it. Whether we think the expectations are fair or not doesn't matter. Trayvon Walker went number 1 overall. He's expected to be like the next Bruce Smith or Myles Garrett. That's what the expectations are. We took Aiden number 2 overall. There's no being just one of the guys. When you go number 2 overall as an edge rusher, you're expected to be the guy. You're expected to be one of those 14 to 17 sack guys consistently. People talk about how much Aiden gets double teamed. It's bullshit. I watched Myles Garrett a month ago against the Colts get double, triple team,
triple team,
face mask pulled, like, and while the rest was standing there, and dude still made game-changing plays. So I don't want to hear about that, man.
Yeah.
And I understand he's a Michigan boy, so that's part of it too. We want to protect him as much as possible. Don't criticize Aiden this and don't criticize Aiden that. He needs to step it up. If we can ask the other 10 players on this defense to step it up, he ain't exempt from nothing. He need to step it up too. Yeah. Because going that many games, then people talk about, oh, Aiden made the big-time, prime-time play. We was already up. That game was over with. The Bears was not about to drive that field at all. They had no timeouts left, and I'm not trying to completely downplay Aiden's sack, but it's like, dude, it was similar to me like the Anzalone sack against Seattle. Like, the game was already decided at that point in time. We came all the way back. We took the lead. Now I'm talking about the Bear game. We took the lead. The Bears had no timeouts. It was 22 seconds left, I believe. And they had to drive at least 60-something yards.
Now, they needed like...
That wasn't about to happen.
Yeah, the only thing I said, I think it was 29. Yeah, but they only needed like 30 yards. I think to get in field goal range. You know what I'm saying? That's why, to me, the play was big because I just thought that...
No, it was big, but they was at they own 30. Like, they needed a decent amount of space.
Yeah.
They needed a decent amount of space, but it was like, it was a good play to seal it. But it's like, I think people kind of oversold that play right there too, because where were you the previous 58 minutes, 59 minutes and 40-something seconds?
Step too late. That's what he was. Yeah. Step too late.
Yeah, it's like we need more out of him. Yeah. He was the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about double teams. People act like he's the only edge rusher that gets double teamed.
Yeah.
Somebody name me the opposite edge rusher of Myles Garrett. Most NFL fans can't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
They know Myles Garrett on that defensive line for the Browns, and that's it. They don't know anybody else on
Yeah,
there.
that's what make it or more impressive. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he out there just
Now everybody ain't got what Nick Bosa got over there with Eric Armstead and Hargrave and the new dude they just got over there and Chase Young.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to step it up.
Yeah. I mean, just like I heard, I think Fidel asked the question about Ohio State and Michigan. Yeah, I mean, like E said too, man. I mean, it's been a great holiday weekend. You know what I'm saying? Obviously you spend it with your family. We all spend it with our loved ones. And, we talk about, the team as a whole, but in the grand scheme of things, we thankful, to be able to do what we do and, to be able to spend time with our families and stuff like that this time of year. So that, that's the main thing. Football is secondary, you know what I'm saying? So, people get upset, you know what I'm saying, when you voice your opinion because, like, and you said, I think you made a post, Walt, and you was dead on when you was like, when your team, you shouldn't some people think you shouldn't criticize your team. Okay. That's not saying that we're like fair weather fans or, we ain't true Detroiters or we ain't true. You see people all the time say, don't jump on the bandwagon when we start winning and stuff like that. No, you gotta hear the truth. Sometimes, your best friend in life is a person that tells you the truth. You know what I'm saying? And it can still rock with you no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And we just telling the truth. We rock with the Lions like we all do. Everybody that's on this platform, everybody that's commenting, rock with the Lions. But you know what? It is what it is, man. And the quarterback's a problem. Some of the coaching is a problem. The scheming wise, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying scheme because of the
Yeah, it's levels to it.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think necessarily, and you said problem. I don't want people to think we feel like Goff is like a problem. Mm-hmm. But I think he's not the solution when we go up against certain competition. Mm-hmm. And we're expecting him to rise to the occasion and carry us out of situations, the most unopportune situations, that ain't going to happen. Because even in the Tampa game, he was under duress a little bit. I still don't think he was touched in that game. There's just, when your quarterback has a ceiling, that just is what it is. You better bank on everything around him being great. Mm-hmm. People bring up Brock Purdy with San Francisco. Well, look, everything around him is great. Elite. He got all pros everywhere, all pro left tackle,
everywhere,
Pro Bowl receivers, all pro running back, all pro tight end. Mm-hmm. You look at the defense, all pro middle linebacker. Mm-hmm. 3 all pros on the defensive line.
Yeah, that's
let's be real.
Way more than what the line. All that you named, Walt, we got maybe 2 of those, maybe one or 2. Yeah. So and I'm glad. And then Chris Styles, said it best like this here: Josh, Patrick, Burrow, Justin, and that's the list. And he's right. You know what I'm saying? And those other 5, outside of those 5 quarterbacks, not saying the teams don't have a chance, but you better have it all. The box checks like San Francisco does. You know what I'm saying? The Lions don't have those boxes. We're a good team, but they're not like on that list because of the all the reasons we said in this whole show for our last hour. So for me, to me, I must just say this, I think these next 3 games this season, man, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? You win, 2 out of these next 3, okay. People get back taking you serious again a little bit, but if you go out there and
does it say anything about Goff?
Yeah, oh yeah. For me, that's the number one. I mean, regardless of, it's the defense too, and it's a whole team. It's the team effort. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at everything, but what I'm saying is the best thing you can do, and I was saying this too with Gibbs and implementing Jameson Winston at the beginning of the season. I was saying the Lions, their best interest to be playing well offensively at the end of the season, because I think that's going to win them some games, being able to score. Because listen, rarely do you ever see a playoff game 10-7, 13-10. It's usually, at least 27 point, 24, 27, 30 points scored. You know what I mean? And in these games coming up, man, they got opportunity here they're going to have to score. So maybe the Chicago game is going to be low scoring. maybe okay, maybe if you want to say Dallas, maybe the Dallas game might be, and maybe the Minnesota games is always kind of within whoever scores 20 wins the game, that type of thing. But I just want to see more offensive, because I know we're limited as hell on defense, and I don't even expect them to do anything that I know they can't do. The one thing offensively, they there's one thing they haven't unlocked on this team, and time's running out. I thought it'd be unlocked by Naz Jameson Williams. That's the most disappointing thing, because I thought that he gave another element that teams haven't seen yet. And what I don't know if they're even going to get to it this year. I think it may be next year before he's implemented and a big part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just St. Brown or Montgomery right now. You know what I'm saying? And occasionally Jahmyr Gibbs, if he, gets the right play at the right spot for him, and then Laporta. But right now that Laporta train is kind of slowed up too a little bit. You know what I'm saying? From not getting the ball, dropping passes. You know what I'm saying? Overthrowing the ball over his head. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, listen. I saw a comment in the comment section about Jared Goff being 7th in the league in QBR. I take a lot of those numbers with a grain of salt, and I try to, not to say that I don't factor those numbers in at all, a lot of it, because I do. Because I think it helps you get a better overall feel of what happened during these games and whatnot. But you got to take a look at the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
And Goff ain't really passing the eye test, man. There were games this season from Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, of course. And you watch these guys, Joe Burrow. The top echelon quarterbacks, regardless of what QBRs are and this and that, they create first downs where there is no first down.
Mm-hmm.
I said this about Justin Herbert in the game against the New Orleans Saints, I believe, a year ago, which was, I believe, was it a Monday night game? And we saw it firsthand. Herbert took completions. And by what I mean in the aspect of taking completions, okay, this guy is, the window is this big on this deep comeback.
Yeah. Yeah.
The weak side linebacker is sagging off in coverage. He has the ability to undercut that throw and get it. Or the corner has the ability to break on it and get it.
Yeah.
Do you have the ability to take that completion on 3rd and 12 to pick up 14 yards?
Yeah, there we go.
Or do you not have the arm to do it? Or do you not have the gall to do it? Or are you just out there to just run play action and take easy shots downfield where there is no threatening to your completion percentage?
Yeah.
And then that's why I say a lot of times people get caught up in these percentages. Okay, Goff may lead the league in deep throws of 30 yards or more downfield. How many attempts does he have? Does he have as many attempts as Justin Herbert or Josh Allen? No, he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, because that would show in the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
The more you throw the ball downfield, the lower your percentages are going to be. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And this team right now, man, it's okay to say we still have another level to get to. And to piggyback off what you were just saying, I think a lot of fans feel like if you don't just blindly support each and every player on the team, well, mainly the quarterback. You ever notice with most fan bases, quarterback is the one guy that's either completely off limits or he's a complete pinata.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can talk mess about everybody else, corners, edge rushers, D tackles, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, whoever.
Look at Scott
But
Mitchell.
if you don't support your quarterback, you're not a real fan.
Yeah, Scott Mitchell still mad.
Dude, this team ain't done. Oh, yeah, Scott Mitchell mad.
He mad as hell.
Yeah, dude, this team ain't done, bro.
Yeah, no,
this team isn't done. And you and I talked about this prior to the season. Like, Goff is going to have to show me a lot. I don't need just numbers. And his numbers ain't sexy enough for me to just say, here, take this money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because if you take a look around the league, his numbers, well, prior to the last 2 games with the turnovers and whatnot, they was up there. They was top 5 in the league.
Yeah.
But look at what they was compared to. Like, we're seeing a reemergence of the run game for sure. And we talked about that before the season started, how we both felt like the running game was going to become bigger in the NFL again, which it has.
Yep.
But we ain't talking about a dude with 42 touchdowns right now. A dude finishing the season with 42 touchdowns and 4,800 yards or not. This dude putting up pedestrian numbers, clean numbers. He's not putting up numbers that are good enough for me to say, oh, yeah, this is it. This is the one right here. Like, no, like you and I both said he had to do a lot more this season for us to really be sold on giving him that money. And I just hope he doesn't have a rough collapse down the stretch, because I do like Jared, and I think he's gotten pretty far with us, but I do think there's a possibility that he's plateaued. You know, you and I discussed Sean McVay and how McVay felt like he plateaued with him. He felt like he could really open up his offense with a quarterback like Stafford, and he did. And he went on and won. Now, what they got going on right now is something completely different. But, yeah, I think it's a possibility that this offense is plateaued with what he does. All of those short digs, all of those slants inside, all of those comebacks, those hitches, everything attacking the middle of the field. That's not working right now.
Yeah. You know, and you're right, man. Yeah. And like you said, I mean, I'm pretty sure Jared Goff tired of everybody, you know, kicking him around, but hey, he comes to the territory. He a big boy. You know what I'm saying? He knows the situation. As far as like being criticized and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, Walter, we had to put a bow on this show. I mean, and then while you seen Broken Tubing, he commented from YouTube. He won our first listener from way back. So thanks, Broken Tubing, for your comment, man. Appreciate you staying with us. Yeah. Have the third most attempts against Goff is what he is. But yeah, I mean, to me, like I think Darcy said it best. Darcy said that Ben Johnson was coming predictable, Walt, and I think that's a lot of it too. It's like a lot of the pre-snap movement to get Laporta, spring Laporta open. It's been none of that. I think it's been either run the ball with Montgomery or nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the problem too.
Well,
I mean,
Laporta still get his little quick out. He still gets a little quick out.
But it's been few and far between, man. I think, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, these next three games, Walt, I know the Michigan Ohio State games getting ready to come on here, so you know we'll get off here. But and I do like Michigan, by the way. Man, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I'm sitting here saying I got a red shirt on, but it ain't Ohio State. It's an NBA shirt for everybody. Trust me, I do not like Ohio State at all. I want them to shut everybody up with this whole science signaling stealing thing. You know what I'm saying? Which is some bullshit to me. You know, whatever you say, whatever you want, giving them advantage or what? Who cares? I mean, I don't want to say, like, you know, other teams are doing it. I don't have the proof to do it, but I'm sure that's like this small potatoes from the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how small these potatoes is, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
They doing a whole lot of digging right now.
Yeah, but I mean,
they might need some yams.
Right? Yeah, hell yeah. So like I said, I like Michigan, but I think it's gonna be tight. I really do. The reason why I say that too about Michigan is, you know, JJ McCarthy. He hasn't shown me enough, man. I mean, I know I might be again. We're talking about quarterback play again. He hasn't shown me. I mean, can he do it in the big game? I haven't seen him like on the big stage to actually put the team on this big. Even though I know that again, Michigan's predicated on running the football.
Yeah.
You know, between the tackles and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how they play. So JJ, but I think in this game, McCarthy gonna have to make some plays, man. You know what I'm saying? I think it's gonna come down to that. I don't think it's gonna be super high scoring or nothing like that. I think Michigan's got the better, you know, run attack. If we limit them from big plays, the only equalizer I got that makes me feel uneasy about Ohio State is Harrison. I mean, Marvin Harrison is like, dude, like the next great receiver. And when you have somebody with that talent, they can bust the game open at any time. And that's something Michigan don't have that. So that's the only thing that makes me worried a little bit. But I still think Michigan gonna win, though. Go Blue.
All right, man. A couple more comments. Sebastian Marquez says AG don't got the tools to really succeed. He's been overachieving for real. I agree. I've been
Mhm.
saying that the last 2 years. We said that towards the beginning of the show, man. It's
Yeah.
look at the defensive side of the ball. You know, Jack Campbell, even though linebacker is one of the toughest positions to just step right into the league and play, because not only do you have to drop back in coverage in this day and age, you have to be able to go sideline to sideline. You got to be able to read blockers. You got to be able to stand up against guards and tackles. And it's a very demanding job.
Yeah.
Very demanding. That's
Yeah.
why we see a lot of high-end caliber linebackers come out of college who get to the NFL and do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or then a lot of it is the system you go to as well. But yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I don't think they've invested as much on the defensive side of the ball as they have on offense,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really showing. They're seeing it right now. The offense really isn't holding up the end of the bargain because if your defense isn't good, the last thing you need to be doing is being out there turning the ball over,
Mm-hmm.
giving your defense short fields to defend. That's not helping at all. But
Yeah, talk to me, man.
right.
The next game we got, the next show, man, they get me all fired up. I'll be calmed down. I come to myself. I'll make I'll make an educated, well versed,
My Conway voice.
well versed. But he's right, man. I mean, just like yeah. I mean, your like commentary was spectacular today about the whole thing, Walt. So commend you on that as always. Do a splendid job. But
Man, it's stuff we've been talking
yeah,
about all off season.
yeah. I mean, and then too, it's like yeah, and now it's like coming to like remember all the stuff we were saying it really hadn't happened yet. You know what I'm saying? Now it seemed like we starting to see all the stuff that we was kind of worried about during the preseason. You know what I mean? So
Adversity.
yeah, yeah,
And the adversity isn't coming from us playing really high caliber competition.
yeah.
Now it's coming from us playing even to lesser competition and being put in that situation where, okay, what you gonna do about it? Are you gonna show that you better? Because let's be honest, man, we had no business beating the Bears.
Yeah.
A 12-point deficit with 3 minutes to go is not a recipe to be winning. And the Bears gave that away.
Yeah. The win probability was like analytically was over 90%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I said, it's in the rearview mirror now. Let's move on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Fidel feel just like I did, man. It just like that was just like and I thought we was past all them heartbreakers like that. You know what I'm saying? At least let us get to the playoffs or something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Moving on. The next, like I said, the next 3 games, Walt, is huge. We're 8-3. With New Orleans and Chicago on the road, staring us in the face, and then back home against the Broncos, I think a week before Christmas. So, you know what I'm saying? Well, and then 2 division games. Like I've always said, division games are the hardest to win, man. They really are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even like I said, remember when the first, I think the year the Lions were 3-13-1, right? Dan Campbell's first season. Remember, our first win was against the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? And the Vikings was a good team. We got our first when they were 0-10, I think it was, and we got our first win against the Vikings. I think that was Dan Campbell's first win. So what I'm saying is, you can win no matter the record, man. You know what I'm saying? In our division, you know what I'm saying? Historically, it's been like that ever since we broke that ridiculous streak with the Packers, them beating us, what was it, 18 straight at Lambeau Field or something like that. We've went in there and relatively won at ease sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Even with Stafford, we went in Green Bay and won some games. So, and then the Minnesota series is the only one that's sort of like, they kind of been like handling us. Like I said, we won the last couple, but I'm sorry, we won the last one we played against them. But remember that was the Dan Campbell timeout game and stuff like that. So that series, it seemed like Minnesota's had the upper hand against us. Chicago's kind of went back and forth. But Green Bay, we kind of handled them pretty good since we lost that Thanksgiving game. So
yeah. All right, man. That was a fiery show, man. People on in the comment section pissed off. We pissed off. 2 bad performances.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Charger game just sold people fool's gold, I think. and got us set up to not expect what we saw 6 days ago against the Bears and a couple days ago against the Packers. So this team does have some issues that they need to clean up. Can they really fix those issues at this point in time in the season? I don't know. I mean, your team is what it is. Teams around the league now, you're talking about these teams having 11 games worth of tape on you. And it's out there for all the teams to see. They know exactly what you do well. Ben Johnson has been the offensive coordinator for 2 years now?
Yeah.
We're going on 2 full seasons now. Teams know, opposing defensive coordinators, opposing coaches know exactly what he likes to do. It's out there. It's obvious. You and I watch enough Lions games to know exactly what this team likes to do offensively. And now shit is up for them to fix things. Can they? I don't know. Because a big issue I said that they have is attacking downfield outside the numbers. That's just not something that's worked on within this offense, you can tell. Because the only time they take shots downfield is off of the run game, out of play action. If they don't have the running game going, they don't take any shots downfield, period. Teams know that. Teams know that for sure. And there's only so much scheming and gadget plays you can draw up that are going to generate some points, man. And what I say this team is in trouble, I'll wait till after the Saints game. If they turn in another performance like this at New Orleans, now I think it's time to be worried, because that means this team has actually plateaued. And that means that we know whether they go on to win 9 games this season, 10 games, 13 games, whatever it is, 14 games. We know right now that, okay, this team is good enough. They're well coached. They have a lot of depth, but it's time for this team to get more high-end players to put them over the top. You know, it's enough. You and I agreed it's enough of the lunch pail hard work guy, the guy that we got via undrafted free agency off the scrap heap, the 5-year vet that's played for 4 teams in 5 years, but we found him and found a home for him. He's playing well for us. That's all fine and dandy. That's a nice story. Those aren't the guys you win games with. They're part of your rotation. They're part of your depth. And if we're being honest about it, everybody on our offense, not offensive, but everybody on our defensive line is a rotational guy, except for Hutchinson. Bug should be part of a solid rotation. So should Kaminsky. Aleem McNeil is the only guy who could potentially start on multiple defenses, but he's not really a guy that's a game changer.
Nope.
You know, and we wasted a high 2nd-round pick on Levi and Wuzurike. He's not going to be here. Josh Paschal, he's hit or miss. And man, boy, the problems we saw during the offseason, it took them a minute to really rear their heads. It took to the second half of the season, but I really believe that this is a team right now that if they don't stop the bleeding against New Orleans, we should be in fear of, if at the very least, this team not winning the division. Even if they don't win the division, I still think they'll win enough games to get the 7th seed or whatnot, but it could be bad. All right, man. Good doing this Saturday morning with you. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. We really got the viewership up today. We will be back. Of course, the Lions don't play tomorrow, but we will be back to break down Saints game in next Sunday or next Monday? It's next Monday, or is it Sunday night? Can't hear you.
Sunday afternoon game. You know what I'm saying? New Orleans.
They flexed it? I thought it was a Sunday night.
No, not against the Saints. Nah.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Not that I know of. Unless they did it, I didn't catch that, but yeah. Well, nevertheless, we got one this week. We coming up. You know, we preview the game to come.
Yep. All right. Want to thanks everybody for listening in today and watching. Have a good weekend.